sustainability. Um, Earlier, I was asking Matty if he ever gets any comments online about the stuff he does. We did get one such comment, a very skeptical comment about why is it sustainable, blah, blah, blah. So because of that comment, I'll cut straight to the chase on why. There's a backstory behind it, and it involves these two people. In 2017, the Department of Agriculture Secretary was then Mr. Manny Piñol, and we were trying to restore 4,000 hectares of ancestral domain of the Aitas, Chieftain Erese. So in a conference, I told Mr. then Secretary Piñol, "Sir, we have land, we have no seeds. Can you help us?" And he said, "Yes, we will help you." He sent me to his regional director. So we brought Chieftain to Quezon City, stayed in my place. We presented to the Department of Agriculture, and they said, "Yes, we'll give you seeds." So when we finally got to talk to the regional office in charge of the seeds, we found that there was a 6 to 12 month wait list for seeds. On top of that, some of the seeds that we did want for the community were not available. And so this made us think, one, wow, the government needs help because there's just thousands of farmers who need seeds. Second, even if there were less farmers, we don't have the variety we want, which will help our community. And so we thought, what better way to get people to give us their seeds than to get them drunk? So that's the short story of it, right? And so with that story, I'll launch into a bigger context of what we're doing and why today is so different and important. So we're at a time when there's a huge transition in society, and that transition's mapped out here. There's an indigenous elder here, the Dumagat. They're just in the mountains of the Sierra Madre, Antipolo, about 90 minutes away. And here, the elder's saying, we want development, talking to a dam builder. But they're saying development means taking care of the land and taking care of water. Things which traditional business don't normally take care of or consider, right? And so that backdrop is set in the Philippines, where we're high on the climate risk. And recently, this was just last, no, actually no, this was quite a while back, but it came out on my feed just last month, that 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels is impossible. I just wanted to check, is anyone here not so familiar with the 1.5 degree story? Anyone? Like, it's clear to you guys, right? So anyway, we've reached that target and it's getting warmer, right? More specifically, in the Philippines, this was just a few days ago. Our sugar harvest is delayed because the rains came very late this year, right? Kasiguran, Aurora, this was last year, 60 degrees Celsius heat index. That went under the radar. 2024, our number one was 55. But 60 is, I think, going to be the norm in the future during those 2 weeks of April, May. Right? And then here, corals start to vanish because of heat stress. Just because it's too warm, then you lose the corals. No? And so this is our this is our reality now, 1.5. But it could very well move into the future, which is 2 degrees Celsius warming average above regular levels. And that means a month and a half of 60-degree weather, which would really suck, right? And it's toxic to us. You can only stay in that sunlight for 10, 15 minutes before you start to get sick, right? Oops, sorry. So what's the direction? Based on MIT's carbon simulator, it's reasonable to believe that if we don't make shifts, then it goes to 3.3 degrees Celsius, right? That's where it is now. So it's a scary situation. And on top of that, you've got poverty around the country and around the world. What to do, right? Oops. So these are some of the drivers of carbon within our society, right? So you've got electrification of transport, you've got our energy, our grid. In here, we use mostly coal and oil, and then some gas, right? There's our food, beef, of course, being one of the higher, in terms, higher emitting items, no? Protecting nature, which is what we're discussing today. And then cleaning up industry just refers to cement and steel, which we will continue to build with. And around the world, we're going to double the cities in the next 30, 40 years now. So that's a lot of cement and steel. So we need to find a way to lower that now. the last thing, removing carbon, that refers to carbon that was deposited by people who have already died. That was the carbon of the of all the people put together, and then the present is absolutely on a different level. No? So for MAD, what we're trying to solve that, and we do that with these 4 pillars, right? Community, environment, a green economy, and your personal well-being, right? Green economy is very important because our current economy is not green. It's very carbon heavy. It's very extractive. But if we can shift that, then you put economic incentive to keep the environment healthy, right? So the one thing that we've witnessed, well, the one thing that our grandparents and great-grandparents have witnessed over time is the destruction of our forest. In year 1900, that's the year that we were purchased from Spain by the US. Does anyone remember how much they paid? No, more. How much did the US buy us from Spain for? Anyone? It's in the millions, right? Yeah, 20 million US dollars. That was our price in 1900, and they were looking for a return on investment. And in the US, in the minutes of the meeting between the Congress and President, the congressman explained to their president that lumber, healthy soil, mining opportunities, that's what you get from the Philippines, right? And they made a lot of money on it. And so by the time we get to the 2000s, we have lost most of it because we had exported most of our lumber, right? So what happens is it gets it messes up our water system. So it could get a lot warmer without the trees because it gets at least 10 degrees warmer. It's evidenced here, right? In the city, it's a lot warmer because of the heat effect, right? Below 66 degrees, on top 33, right? And around our country, extreme heat is driving farmers to do more desperate things. No? Some of the farmers that Jess and I work with in Batangas, only half their farms have water now. And when we asked, have plants. And when we tried to find out why, we said fertilizer, check, seeds, check, but water, they said the government can buy fertilizer and seeds, but they can't bring water up to the mountain, right? And so that's an issue that we're facing. No? With the warming also comes wildfire. Has anyone here experienced wildfire before? Yeah, Matty has. No? Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. That's scary stuff. No? And of course, storms. I think everyone here has probably experienced a big storm. No? Jess's car and my car almost got flooded in the last one. Good thing we were able to park it on high ground. No? And so, a lot of the storms are preventable. In fact, the last one, Enteng in particular, people were reviewing the Sierra Madre range and saying it's full of potholes, it's full of holes now, which are mines and subdivisions. That's why it started flooding in Tanay, which is 300 meters above sea level, which is weird, right? The trees in that area, if they're large enough, will hold 2,000 liters of water spread in this this way. No? Now, our rivers have also reduced in terms of how much water they're flowing out, right? As much as 75%, and that's driving water poverty in many areas. I just came from Bohol 2 weeks ago, and they have a person now called a person in charge of regenerative tourism. And she was explaining that the island declared themselves in state of calamity because of water. And I was like, why? I mean, it's raining now. And they're like, no, it's just we can't store enough. So we're going to run out again very soon. No? So that is an issue because they lost their watershed. No? So one of the things that is invisible to our eyes is this. No? When you have these boxes are a simulation of mountains without trees and mountains with trees. So on the left, box has no plants. When you water it, the water flows out super quickly. On top, it brings with it the topsoil, right? So that's a flash flood, that's a landslide. On your right side, the box has plants, and so the flow of water is very slow. It comes out at the bottom, and it's clean, right? So these are the protections of the watershed that every city which is at the foot of a mountain should have. our city is at the foot of a mountain range called the Sierra Madre, but we don't have this anymore, right? At least not to the extent that we used to, right? So it does affect a lot of things, right? We put this together so that you can decipher for yourself. Because many times people see a mountain and it's golf course green, and they say it's very pretty. I agree it's very pretty, but it'll also turn brown in the summer. On your right side, this is a mountain that's not golf course green, it's dark green because that's peppered with large trees, right? And it's hard to decipher it if you're in your car or at the foot of the mountain, right? But these are photos that we hope more people can access now. And so, with that whole context of climate change and how it's affecting our country, we zoom in on a small community in San Felipe, Zambales now. So this is their mountain range. It's not golf course green, it's brown because it burned. It burns every year, and we've seen wildfire numerous times now. So that their goal there is to reforest 4,000 hectares now. And so we started off with travel. That's why we're called Mad Travel. We said we'll bring people there, we'll go on tour, and the money we'll use to plant trees. And we'll hire the guides, and during the free time of the guides, they can also plant. That was the whole premise of it. And so we were able to bring in a lot of people to the town, right? Planting, take a grab carabao, people immersed with the community, right? Herbal medicine classes, and then working with the community to bring out the best food that they could have, right? And then planting as much as you like. No? So on the day of our first successful program, the chieftain is supposed to take from us about 4,000 pesos. This is money that they would need, that they could earn in a month's time in that area because it's extremely agricultural and very, very backward in terms of economy. So tourism is quick money. That's why Siargao, was that La Union, Palawan, I mean, it's gentrifying like crazy because of tourism, right? So for them, they could take that money and use it. But he said, no, sir, I don't want the money. So this surprised us. So I asked him, why, chieftain, why don't you want the cash? Because we put so much effort into making a livelihood program for you so that you wouldn't beg, so that you could earn. And his response, he said, if you give me cash, I might spend it on 3-in-1 coffee, on cell phone credits, or on cigarettes. These are things that the guys in my village will want me to buy once they see I have cash, which is for the village. So if you're coming back and you're serious about helping us, please bring us seeds because that we will plant. And even if it's stolen, the thief will plant it and children in my village will benefit from the planting. So si Chieftain, grade 5 dropout, was teaching us about sustainability at an early stage, telling us that there's more, you can create more impact without using money, right? And you must meet people where they're at. And he was telling us basically, look, we're good at farming, right, in our own way. So help us here. And so we did 2 things. Now we started getting them seeds, right? The first set of seeds we got were forest seeds. We didn't have a lot of money, and when we talked to the different government agencies also, we would have to pick up large seedlings and ship them to this town, which is expensive. It might cost something like 20K for a shipment of 100 seeds. So we said, no, we'll just pick up seeds in the forest and plant it. And so we got a lot. We were able to pick up a lot, and this is what's happened so far. So we got to planting, right? But the community, some of the elders are like, environment again, what about us, right? What about our livelihood, right? Side story, some of our tour guides are illegal loggers or charcoal makers. They cut trees to make charcoal because everyone likes barbecue, right? That's culture here. I told one of the guides, that's illegal, right? And his response was with a story. He said, "Sir, um, when my grandfather was young, he saw straight-haired people come to our town." So that's Tagalogs, right? And these people cut up trees and they became rich. Now I want to cut trees in our ancestral land. Why can't we do that? Why is it illegal? Isn't it ours, right? And I was like, wow, that's like social injustice at its finest, staring us right in the face. Uh, And so we have, what he was saying was, I know how to make money out of the environment, and so do you, right? And I want the same things that you do, no? And that's why green economy is so important, right? And so what we did after, which also led us to that Department of Agriculture meeting, was, can we find seeds that give them livelihood, no? So these are the seeds that do. No? It's a lot cooler with the shade as well. No? We started measuring it ourselves, right? And then trees have flowers. Flowers attract bees, and bees produce honey, right? Which you'll use later in your drinks if you want, of course. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, so those are the different agroforestry and agriculture items that we were able to find. The ube seeds were given by the Good Shepherd sisters who make the ube jam, right? It's their waste now. And that gave us the idea we should take seed waste and turn it into something that's valuable to farmers who don't have it. And truth be told, this is a story that's present in almost every town in the Philippines. Farmers never have all the seeds they want, right? But we're eating the fruits and vegetables that have the seeds that they want. No? So there is a uh, mismatch in supply and in demand in that way. No? So this is our latest report. Oh, sorry, not latest. In 2024, we started 2024 with 62,000. We just finished our planting last month, September, and we added another 25,000 trees. There's Chieftain Erese on the top of the mountain with the coordinates if you want to check it. No, planting. No. He's happy, he just doesn't look it here. So one of the things that I wanted to share is that if you go to certain towns in the Philippines, water's free. And one of those towns is Ifugao, right? Here, they've got water at the top because they have all their forest at the top. So there's a waterfalls at the top of the mountain, right? And that irrigates all the rice farms below. It's very simple, right? And their culture's been able to pass that knowledge on so that the youth don't chop up what's on the top. No? But outside of that town, it's very different. Top of the mountain is vegetables. So you'll get a landslide for sure, right? And you lose it. No? And the idea that we need to think of is that there's a water budget in every area, depending on the slopes, right? Trees on top means water on top, means water below as well. No? And speaking of water, the heat that we experienced this year was a lot, a lot to deal with, and we lost a lot of trees along the way, as much as 22,000 trees, right? So this video showcases what's happening to our climate in this small village now. In August, it's highly flooded, right? So this guy wanted to buy rice, so he crossed the river as deep as 8-10 feet, and he's got a small plastic bag of rice. Yeah. Yeah. And then same river 6 months later, and then there's a fire on top of the mountain, right? Burn, burn, and then in 6 hours the whole mountain's wiped out. Yeah. So this contrast is happening all over the Philippines. It happened in Baguio last summer, and our DNR was unprepared for it because it's, we don't have California-like fires, or maybe we will regularly. Hawaii. Oh yeah.
Hawaii.
So what drives that is the dry grass, kogon grass, no? And so because there's a lot of dry grass there, that's as good as fuel. We were able to find, we're experimenting with a solution called biochar. So you pyrolyze the grass, you dry it up, then you control burn it, you cook it, and in the end you get charcoal or solid carbon. It's a process that MIT and Stanford have accredited that is carbon negative, because you instead of letting the smoke go into the atmosphere, it becomes solid carbon that you can put back in the soil. So this is what it looks like. That's a simple oven, kiln, right? And what's nice about biochar is that it holds 5 times its weight in water. So imagine if the mountain's in Antipolo, you pepper it with 10 tons of biochar. That's 50 tons of water easily, right? So here, watch this. Right? Same soil, same water, but different effect. And the biochar also, because of the moisture retention, enhances plant growth very well. Right? It's empowered our mentor to grow plants and organic vegetables in sand, right? And now they're supplying healthy options. This is Sambali Beach Farm in Botolan, Zambales. No? And you can see here, this is an example. That's a normal burn, standard burn. You can see all the black smoke coming out because of the grass burning. But if you put the grass in a kiln or an oven, see the air that comes out, a lot cleaner, right? That dry grass, that'll decompose no matter what you do. So it's just a question of how do you want it to decompose and what do you get out of it in the process, right? So we're planting a lot with biochar now, right? Sorry, this is a little geeky, but the biochar, you can mix it with paint. It can block heat because it's always hot summer now, reduces rust. And you can mix it with cement so that you can make it a cement extender, right? Reducing up to 40% of the carbon in the cement. So, I mean, look at that. We started with, we just want to plant, but look at the number of things that you've found connections to, right? Which is the wheelhouse of sustainability, showing that many things are connected to each other. And the solution to one thing might connect to a solution in another issue or another industry, right? This is the research of Freycinet, which is the contractor of NLEX and Esitex, showing that you can reduce your carbon footprint of cement, right, before and after, right? So we're looking for parking lots, sidewalks, simple cement structures who want to try it out, right? The curing time is a little longer, the cost is the same, right? Yeah. So anyway, I've shared with you a lot of things, right? And at the core of it, what we see is people never take care of what they don't understand. And for MAD, we've always tried to help people understand, but through fun or interesting things, new experiences, travel, drinks. Tomorrow we have a cleanup, which is free if you guys want to come to Subic. You're very welcome to. And it's important that we continue our way of educating people, because everything here is the reflection of someone's mind, right? The Rockwell complex is a reflection of the mind of the Lopez group and their architects. In the same way that the Sierra Madre now is becoming a reflection of what's in the mind of everyone who's living in it, right? Greenery disappearing. So what you put in the mind will decide what comes out in our environment now. So that said, um, I'm hoping that before we make our drinks, this helps you gain better context of how things are connected, and with that context in mind, you'll go home later, or you go through your life, but you'll be able to see what resources you might have that are actually very valuable to other people, but are waste to you, which are seeds, right? And so, for today's menu, right, we're going to be making 4 different drinks. There are 4 tables on the other side of this studio, right? And we have some guidelines, no? Just 4 guidelines, right? 1, all the recipes are suggestions, right? So you can go off the recipe map if you want to. 2nd, please be very creative. Just don't poison anyone. Like, don't mix all the alcohol. There's a lot of alcohol, right? Next is you will create drinks, but you're required to share it with people in other tables. So it's not just for yourself, right? So sorry for the extra thirsty ones. Yeah. And then you can put ice in it if you want to make it a smoothie kind of thing. So we've got an ice chest over there. There are only two blenders and one, what's that? Handheld one. So you just have to share the resources so that we can make your shakes now. And of course, because this is Tipsy with Sustainability, we'd like to ask that you save the seeds, right? So we can put the seeds aside, because a lot of the trees that we planted started with us or the community just picking up seeds, right? And you never know what you have now. We have an organic farm in our home in Quezon City, so we'll start growing them there. So here are the recipes, which I will summarize for you in one photo later. So one is margarita, right? That's on one table. The other recipe is the Rambo mango smoothie, right? I'm sure none of you have tried this yet, but rambutan's in season, so that's good. Again, sugar and honey are optional because you might have very sweet fruit already, right? Next is banana papaya lanzones, no? And if you play with it, it actually reads palaba. So, sorry, I just wanted to crack that. And then next is jackfruit papaya calamansi. Right? If you don't like it, again, it's a suggestion. You can remove the calamansi, right? But I swear, this will surprise you, right? And here's the summary of all the recipes. Yes, we can give you a copy. Yeah, we can